Hello everybody, today we're going to be reviewing the movie Ma, starring Octavia Spencer. So let's get right into it. Octavia Spencer plays a lonely, somewhat reclusive, somewhat introverted, somewhat awkward veterinarian tech who befriends this group of youths who try to enlist her to buy them some alcohol. We later learn that she was actually a classmate of some of these children's parents. Slowly but surely we see her pretty much stalking these kids, stalking their social media, befriending them, and before long she's exhibiting outright stalkerish behavior. Along the way she has some flashbacks of her as a child in the classroom, and in these flashbacks you can tell that it's her, obviously. She's very shy, very awkward, and then you see these popular kids befriending her, and when they start inviting her out to hang out, you know from that point on where this is all going. Let's face it, you know that they're going to try to play some kind of prank on her, or you figure they're going to exploit her in some way, possibly sexually. She's going to be scarred for pretty much most of her life, and that she's just basically waiting to reach her snapping point. And then you kind of figure in that somewhere along the way she's going to exact her revenge on either these kids, their parents, or both in some type of horrific fashion. So in that sense the film was extremely predictable. You knew where this was going. It was just a matter of how we were going to get there, and along the way you see the normal creepy behavior, and you see most of these kids overlooking obvious red flags, sometimes scared of the lady, other times defending the lady, but you knew this lady was going to snap at some point. Typically in these kind of movies, Octavia Spencer would have started knocking off the kids one by one, or those parents that tricked her one by one, in some type of spectacular freakish death where they either decapitated or fallen on a spike or something. That's what we typically see in these movies. So they chose not to go that route. They opted instead to have her kill about 4 adults. All those killings, let's face it, were pretty conventional. The veterinarian lady was by a stabbing, Mercedes was killed by hit and run, Ben was killed basically by having his wrist slashed, and the police officer was just shot. Let's face it, all these are pretty conventional, nothing spectacular about them. And even with the kids, none of them were killed. They were, I guess you could say, about to be tortured. Even though, to be fair, at times they treated this lady kind of shabbily, whether it was blocking her, saying mean things about her, throwing beer cans at her car window. So in the end, all these kids basically get saved, and they survive, and we see her crawling into bed with one of her victims. You would have thought that she deserved to die, or she deserved to die in some type of spectacular fashion herself. I mean, she was caught in a house fire. We never see her body burning up or anything. So obviously they've left the door open for this lady to come back maybe. And if you've watched the quote-unquote alternate ending on the DVD, they very clearly suggest that this lady could have survived. That said, I would venture to guess that there probably is not going to be a sequel to this movie. You know, overall I would say this movie was very average. If I was giving it a grade, I'd give it a C for average. Even with Octavia Spencer in it, I'd still give it a C for average. With some of these movies, if you have a really powerful performance by a very accomplished actor, they can kind of elevate it to like a B or something like that. But I can't even say that her performance was so overwhelming that it could elevate this movie from a C to a B. So I'm basically going to leave it as a C. And if I was being totally honest, the movie is still pretty much forgettable. So I would say this is an okay movie to watch on cable or Netflix or in isolation or something like that. But it's not the type of movie I would go out and pay money to see, just being fair. So that's my review of Ma. I hope you found it helpful. Please check out some of my other videos and reviews, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.